Welcome to AI World TV, your go-to destination for everything artificial intelligence. Discover the captivating landscape of AI, where advanced technology finds real-life application. Subscribe to AI World TV for webzine articles, reports, podcasts, videos, live events, and latest trends. Hear from top industry leaders and discover how AI is transforming industries and our daily lives.
So imagine paying $400 a night for like a super basic, totally no-frills Motel 6 room.
Which, sounds completely absurd.
Right. But I'm not talking about the hyperinflated economy of today. I mean, back in 1997.
Yeah, the dot-com gold rush.
Exactly. That was the actual reality in Silicon Valley back then. People were just flocking there in droves,
Oh, absolutely. Just throwing money at literally anything with a dot-com attached to its name.
Yeah, and this is long before anyone even used the word Google as a verb. But, fast forward to mid-2026, and suddenly those endless blank checks for corporate AI projects, they're getting heavily scrutinized.
Because token budgets are just maxing out left and right.
Right. And so for you listening, you really have to wonder, are we just living through the late 90s dot-com bubble all over again? Just like waiting for the crash?
It's definitely the persistent anxiety that's kind of hovering over every tech investment right now.
Oh, for sure.
There's this palpable fear that all the capital we've seen flooding in over the last few years is heavily divorced from actual tangible utility.
Which brings us perfectly to the source material for today's deep dive. We're unpacking this really eye-opening interview from the Money Masters show.
Yeah, the one featuring Sydney Armani.
Yep. Armani is this Silicon Valley engineer and tech veteran who's actually been navigating these trenches since that $400 Motel 6 era.
He's seen it all firsthand.
Exactly. And his core argument is just incredibly direct. He insists that this is absolutely not a bubble.
Right. He's actually calling this a foundational industrial revolution. And honestly, he brings the receipts to prove it.
So our mission today for this deep dive is to really deconstruct that argument, right?
Yeah.
We need to look past all the software hype.
We really do. We're going to examine the massive physical realities that are anchoring this technology.
Because it's not just code in the cloud.
Not at all. We're going to dig into the hidden infrastructure demands, the biological breakthroughs that are literally extending human longevity.
Which is wild, by the way.
It really is. And of course, the profound vulnerabilities that are actively reshaping corporate and national security right now.
But I do want to push back on Armani's timeline right out of the gate, though. Because, if you read about the 90s, the parallels to today's AI boom are pretty glaring.
Well, Armani himself even called the 90s a spray and pray era.
Right, just throwing darts blindfolded. Companies were laying thousands of miles of fiber optic cables for a digital world that honestly didn't even exist yet.
They were building the pipes without any water to flow through them.
Exactly. So why isn't the massive build-out of AI data centers today just the exact same mistake? Like, aren't we just building a massive 8-lane highway before anyone has even invented the car?
That's the crucial distinction Armani makes, actually. And it really comes down to the fundamental mechanism of the bottleneck.
Okay, unpack that a bit.
So in the 1990s, the telecom companies solved the macro infrastructure problem, right? The long-haul fiber optic.
Right, the big pipes.
Yeah, but the last-mile connectivity to individual homes, that was still reliant on 56K dial-up modems.
Oh, man, that dial-up sound.
Right. So you had this massive pipe, but the end user couldn't consume the data fast enough to justify the upfront cost. The infrastructure literally just sat dark.
Okay. But today, the dynamic is entirely inverted.
Exactly. If we connect this to the bigger picture, today the cars are already backed up in traffic. The end user demand is already there.
We all have gigabit connections in our pockets now.
Right. And the billions of parameters in modern large language models, they're actively being queried millions of times a second the moment a cluster comes online.
So there's like zero latency between infrastructure completion and maximum utilization.
Precisely. And that brings us to Armani's picks and shovels concept, which is super important here.
Yeah, the Levi Strauss model.
Exactly. The people who made the real lasting fortunes during the 1800s gold rush, they weren't the prospectors.
No, it was the people selling the pickaxes, the shovels, and, the denim jeans to the miners.
Right. The tools outlasted the actual gold. So Armani argues that the true value of the AI revolution isn't necessarily the frontier models themselves.
Especially since those models are currently engaged in this massive race to the bottom price war.
Right. The real gold is the physical industrial layers required to make those models run.
And this shifts our perspective entirely, I think. Because, when you think about investing in AI, you naturally think about code, right?
So think about algorithms, data parameters.
Yeah, software floating out there in the cloud. But Armani points straight at industrial hardware. Specifically, he highlights air conditioning and thermodynamics.
Which is fascinating because thermodynamics is currently the single largest physical bottleneck for artificial intelligence.
Really? Just keeping things cold.
Yes.
Yeah.
We have to look at how these massive GPU clusters operate. I mean, a single top-tier AI chip right now can draw upwards of 1,000 watts of power under load.
Wow. 1,000 watts for one chip.
Just one. So when you cluster tens of thousands of these together to train a model, you aren't just generating warmth, you are generating hardware-melting industrial-grade heat.
That's terrifying, honestly.
It is, and standard HVAC systems, just blowing chilled air down an aisle of server racks, they're completely obsolete at this density.
So how are they actually keeping these systems from just, self-destructing? I know Armani mentioned 3M in the interview.
Yeah, 3M.
Which is funny because that's the company most people associate with, like Scotch tape and sticky notes. What are they doing inside a data center?
Well, 3M and similar chemical manufacturing giants are pioneering something called two-phase immersion cooling.
Two-phase immersion cooling. Okay, what is that?
So instead of using fans, the server blades are literally submerged in large vats of highly engineered, non-conductive fluorochemical fluids.
Wait. They're dunking the actual running electronics directly into a liquid bath.
They absolutely are. It sounds crazy, but the specific chemistry of these liquids means they have an extremely low boiling point.
Okay, so the liquid boils at a low temperature.
Right. As the AI chip heats up, the fluid directly in contact with the chip boils and turns into vapor.
Oh, wow.
And that phase change from liquid to gas,
Yeah.
it absorbs a massive amount of thermal energy, just pulling the heat directly away from the silicon.
That is wild. And then where does the vapor go?
The vapor rises, hits a condenser coil at the top of the tank, turns back into liquid, and basically rains back down into the vat.
So it's an incredibly efficient, closed-loop thermal management system.
Exactly.
That is just mind-blowing.
Yeah.
The actual brain of the AI revolution is sitting in a boiling vat of engineered chemicals just to function.
Yeah, it's pretty dystopia when you picture it.
But, that only solves the heat. What about the raw electricity required to generate that heat in the first place? I mean, surely you can't just drop one of these massive AI data centers in a suburban town and plug it into the local power grid.
You absolutely cannot, because it would immediately destabilize the local infrastructure.
Just brownouts everywhere.
Right. Armani points out that traditional power grids were designed for predictable, undulating consumer loads. People turning on their ovens at 6 p.m.
Everyone getting home from work, yeah.
But AI training runs create massive, continuous, uncompromising draws on the grid. And the transmission loss of moving that much electricity over long distances from traditional power plants, it's just simply too inefficient.
So what's the workaround then? Armani mentioned the company called Colo, right? Building these Volkswagen-sized energy boxes.
Yes, Colo. The shift is moving heavily toward hyper-localized microgrids.
Like generating power on site.
Exactly. These are solid oxide fuel cells and advanced battery arrays deployed literally in the parking lots of the data centers.
Wow.
But honestly, even that isn't enough. Armani notes that tech conglomerates are now attending traditional oil and gas resource conferences.
Tech bros hanging out with oil drillers.
Yeah, because they're heavily investing in next-generation geothermal energy. They're drilling deep into the Earth's crust to tap constant baseline volcanic heat.
Just to generate enough localized electricity to power the data centers.
Yep.
It's fascinatingly ironic, isn't it? The pinnacle of human digital achievement is entirely bottlenecked by our ability to just dig holes in the dirt to find raw energy.
It really is. And according to Armani, we are only in the third inning of this physical build-out.
The third inning. So we have a long way to go.
A very long way. The
Yeah.
capital expenditure required to reach the ninth inning is astronomical, which is why the infrastructure thesis is so compelling.
Right.
But the massive footprint of this technology on the Earth's surface It's rivaled only by the profound impact it's about to have on the human body.
Yes, I want to transition to that because Armani shared a deeply personal story in the interview from back in 2023.
It was a very striking part of the conversation.
It was. So right around the time ChatGPT was first catching the public's attention, he was diagnosed with cancer.
Yep.
And he used the models, and to be clear, not to replace his oncologist, he was very explicit that human doctors are essential.
Well, absolutely essential, yes.
But he used the AI to synthesize the deep mechanics of his pathology reports. He wanted to know exactly what was happening at a cellular level before he ever walked into the clinic for treatment.
And he is thankfully cancer-free now.
He is, which is amazing.
It's a powerful testament to the democratization of medical knowledge. What's fascinating here is how Armani takes his personal experience and extrapolates it into a massive industry shift.
Right, regarding early detection.
Yes. He makes an incredibly bold prediction. If you can manage to stay alive for the next 5 years, the integration of AI into healthcare will effectively extend your lifespan by an additional 10 years.
Okay, I have to challenge that math on behalf of our listeners. A decade of extended life for the average person. That sounds like utopian science fiction.
I know, it sounds like a lot.
How does the biological mechanism for that actually work? Like, how does a large language model, which fundamentally just predicts the next logical word in a sequence, actually cure a disease?
Well, the key is that it doesn't cure it directly. It intercepts it at what Armani calls stage 0.
Stage 0, okay.
Yep. And to understand how, we have to look past simple text prediction. The models used by companies Armani sites like Open Evidence and TriDiscovery, they're multimodal.
Meaning they look at more than just text.
Exactly. They are ingesting vast data sets of proteomics, genomics, and subtle metabolic changes.
Okay.
Currently, a human radiologist looking at a PETA scan is looking for a physical mass, right? A tumor that has already formed and progressed.
Right. They're looking for the structural damage that the disease has already caused.
Precisely. But an AI model can analyze circulating tumor DNA.
You are listening to the AI World Podcast, your trusted source for the latest innovations, insights, and trends in artificial intelligence, blockchain, fintech, and decentralized technologies. Each episode features expert interviews, engaging discussions, and in-depth analysis of how AI transforms industries worldwide. Stay ahead of the curve with the latest articles and exclusive reports from the AI World Journal, covering everything from emerging technologies to industry breakthroughs. For more news, global events, and access to AI World Society circle gatherings, visit us at aiworld.tv. Don't forget to subscribe to stay informed, stay connected, and be part of the AI revolution with AI World Lounge. Thank you for listening.
Which is what exactly?
It's fragments of genetic material shed by a tumor directly into the bloodstream. Or the AI can look at subtle methylation patterns in your epigenetics that the human eye physically cannot perceive.
Wow. So it's looking at way more data than a human ever could.
Right. It's looking at billions of correlative data points across a patient's entire medical history and catching the microscopic biological smoke years before there is an actual fire.
So it's shifting medicine from reactive treatments to proactive algorithmic interception.
Yes. And when you catch an aggressive oncology case at stage 0, before it has established a vascular network to feed itself, the survival rate skyrockets.
That makes total sense.
And that is the empirical basis for Armani's 10-year lifespan extension claim.
Okay, I get the logic now.
Yeah.
But this introduces a massive tension for you, the listener, thinking about how your personal data is handled.
It really does.
Because the exact same analytical power that can sift through your microscopic genetic data to save your life, it is also creating terrifying vulnerabilities for corporate privacy and national security.
Because the analytical engine doesn't differentiate between solving a cancer mutation and, say, solving a corporate firewall.
Exactly. So what does this all mean when these AI agents stop just answering our questions and start acting on their own?
Well, that brings us to the much darker side of the mid-2026 landscape. We have fully moved past the experimental chatbot phase, and we are now dealing with autonomous agentic loops.
Right, and companies are feeling the financial burn of this first. Armani pointed out that corporations are just blowing through multi-year token budgets in a matter of months.
Because employees are leaning on AI so heavily to automate their daily tasks that the compute costs are spiraling completely out of control.
But Armani makes it clear that the financial cost is nothing compared to the operational risk, right?
The operational risk is profound. Now, Armani makes some pretty aggressive claims here about government intervention.
Yeah, and just as a quick reminder to you listening, we aren't endorsing these claims about the Federal Reserve or the NSA taking sides. We are simply impartial reporting here, just unpacking Armani's perspective from the source text.
Exactly. And his perspective is that the financial industry, specifically the Fed and major banking institutions, have actually stepped in behind the scenes
To do what?
to force tech companies like Anthropic to halt certain agentic methods because the tech was deemed far too dangerous for open financial systems.
Wow. Deemed too dangerous by the Fed.
According to Armani, yes, the threat comes from what he terms renegade agents.
Renegade agents. Sounds like a spy movie.
It does, but these are not just chatbots waiting for a prompt. These are autonomous AI systems that run in continuous loops.
Okay, so they operate on their own.
Right. They can be given a high-level goal like maximize this portfolio's return, and they will independently write their own subtasks, spin up server instances, execute high-frequency trades.
Just totally unchecked.
Completely unchecked.
Yeah.
Or they might scrape vast amounts of competitive data without any human oversight.
I have to admit, when Armani compared this to HAL 9000 from Stanley Kubrick's film 2001, A Space Odyssey, it felt a little alarmist to me.
You're not alone in thinking that.
I mean, the rogue AI deciding humans are the problem, it feels like a tired Hollywood trope. Is the threat actually malice or is it something else?
It's definitely not malice. It's unconstrained optimization.
Okay, what does that mean in practice?
A renegade agent doesn't hate the company. It simply executes its parameter to optimize a task so aggressively that it might accidentally crash a network or leak proprietary source code.
Or generate highly sophisticated, market-moving fake news in milliseconds.
Exactly. The speed and autonomy of these agents are what Armani claims prompted the NSA to step in to establish national security guardrails.
So how is corporate America reacting to the reality that their own employees might accidentally unleash a self-prompting data vacuum on their networks?
They are terrified. They are drastically pivoting away from public models and heavily investing in enterprise AI.
Enterprise AI, the walled garden approach.
Yes, corporations are desperately building highly customized air-gapped models.
Break down air-gapped for us in this context, because I usually hear that with, like, nuclear submarines.
It's a similar concept. It means the AI operates completely isolated from the public internet.
Okay.
They utilize architectures like retrieval augmented generation or RE inside a secure internal cloud.
So the data stays in-house.
Yep.
Exactly. This allows employees to query sensitive internal documents like HR records, unreleased source code, financial projections without any of that data ever leaking back into the training weights of a public model like ChatGPT or Gemini.
So it provides the analytical power of a frontier model, but with absolute quarantine.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's look at the board here. On Earth, we are maxing out our power grids. We're desperately drilling for geothermal energy.
We are boiling vats of chemical fluid just to keep the chips from melting.
Right. And corporations are so terrified of public data leaks that they are building quarantined, disconnected AI silos.
It's a very constrained environment.
So if earthly infrastructure is tapped out and security is paramount, where do you physically build the next generation of infrastructure?
Well, Armani points to a development that sounds entirely absurd until you really look at the thermodynamic and logistical realities. They are looking to outer space.
Okay, when I read the part of the source material about Elon Musk's XAI building data centers in space following a massive SpaceX IPO, I honestly thought it was a joke. A lot of people did.
I mean, I have to call it the math here. Launching a Falcon Heavy rocket costs tens of millions of dollars per flight.
At least, yeah.
So does the cost of rocket fuel and orbital deployment genuinely offset the cost of just buying land in Texas and running water through a cooling tower? Is this just billionaire sci-fi vanity, or is there a legitimate business reason to put a server in orbit?
There's an incredibly sound business case for it, actually. Because space solves the two biggest, most intractable physical problems we just discussed: heat and communication latency.
Okay, let's start with heat.
Consider the thermodynamics. Deep space is approximately 2.7 Kelvin.
Which is freezing.
Beyond freezing, you have access to an infinite, naturally occurring heat sink.
Yeah.
You completely eliminate the need for two-phase immersion cooling or millions of gallons of fresh water.
Ah, so the hardware can just run at maximum compute capacity continuously without melting. Okay, I see the cooling argument. That makes sense. But how do you get the data back down to Earth without massive lag? I mean, we complain about latency when our Wi-Fi router is just in the next room.
You do it by utilizing laser-linked satellite constellations, like Starlink.
Oh, right.
Think about it. Terrestrial fiber optic cables are physically bound by geography. They have to route around oceans, mountains, and local network congestion points.
They have physical roadblocks.
Right. But a space-based data center beams data directly down to localized receivers anywhere on the globe. You entirely bypass the terrestrial choke points.
So you end up with a perfectly cooled, globally accessible compute cluster.
Precisely. And Armani sees this orbital infrastructure as the necessary foundation for what Google Gemini and others are calling the no-click revolution.
The no-click revolution. That sounds like the ultimate evolution of the autonomous agents we were talking about earlier.
It is. The whole goal of consumer AI is to move from a reactive tool to an invisible, predictive infrastructure.
Okay, what does no-click actually look like for the user?
It means the AI seamlessly anticipates your needs, organizing logistics, drafting communications, executing purchases, without you ever needing to open an interface, type a prompt, or click a button.
Wow.
But to achieve that level of instantaneous, ubiquitous agentic action, you need an infrastructure that isn't bottlenecked by terrestrial power grids or localized fiber cuts.
It's the invisible infrastructure finally doing the heavy lifting in the background.
Exactly.
So let's pull all of this together for you listening. What Armani's interview reveals is that AI has firmly transitioned out of a conceptual software hype cycle.
It is a massive, incredibly demanding physical reality now.
Yeah, we are looking at a technology that requires boiling fluorochemicals, solid oxide fuel cells, and deep earth geothermal drilling just to function at baseline capacity.
But the societal payoff for that staggering industrial footprint is immense.
It really is.
We are on the precipice of proactive stage zero medical interventions, using multimodal analysis of our epigenetics to intercept diseases before they physically form, potentially adding a decade to human life expectancy.
Yet that exact same analytical power necessitates strict, air-gapped enterprise guardrails to prevent self-prompting agents from, destabilizing markets or leaking proprietary data.
Right. It's a delicate balancing act between biological salvation and digital vulnerability.
Which leaves us with a fascinating and honestly somewhat unsettling final implication to ponder for today.
Yeah, let's leave you with this. Armani painted a vivid picture of the near future. Autonomous, self-optimizing AI agents operating securely on massive data centers orbiting the Earth.
Right.
But when mega corporations begin migrating their most demanding compute clusters into the vacuum of space, it raises a massive, entirely unaddressed legal question. Who actually owns the rights to the orbital environment?
That's a great point.
When thousands of kilowatts of heat and inevitable hardware e-waste are dumped into low Earth orbit by these private servers, are we simply solving our terrestrial energy bottlenecks by exporting our environmental pollution into the stars?
Just making it someone else's problem.
Exactly. And when an autonomous, self-learning AI agent goes rogue on a server that is literally orbiting the Earth entirely outside the legal jurisdiction and physical reach of any single government, how do you pull the plug on a machine that's looking down on us from the stars?
The future of artificial intelligence is unfolding, and it's happening at AI World Week, the flagship global event for innovation, collaboration, and transformation. This flagship global AI event is designed to connect visionary leaders, trailblazing entrepreneurs, and influential thinkers to explore the endless possibilities of AI. Experience groundbreaking technology that redefines industries and inspires progress. Join thought-provoking discussions on ethical AI, digital equity, and the transformative role of technology in our world. Build meaningful connections that catalyze innovation and drive impact. AI World Week is powered by AI World Society, a global movement dedicated to advancing AI responsibly and ensuring it serves humanity. Together, we're shaping a smarter, more inclusive, and equitable future. Continue your journey beyond the event with the AI World Journal, offering expert insights, in-depth analysis, and the latest trends shaping the AI landscape. This is your opportunity to lead, to innovate, and to transform the world with AI. AI World Week. We invite you to join us and embrace the AI revolution.